Yes. Getting old is being excited about having a heat and air unit in your garage. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the garage tonight, where hopefully, fingers crossed, we are going to finish up the heat and air install. As you can see behind me, the electric is about 99% of the way done with it. My cousin Danny came out and we did all that together. So shout out to Danny. Thanks for helping me out with that. Really appreciate it. And the heat and air guy that is going to do the final plumbing and actually hook the unit up wiring wise out there is on his way here right now. He should be here any minute. So before he gets here, I'm just going to take a second and talk to you guys a little bit about what it took to actually get the wiring out to the unit. First thing we had to do was come over here to the electrical panel, and you can see there was a board here before, and we had to take that board off so that way we could access the back side of the panel. And then we needed to add a 60 amp breaker for this unit. Some units only take a 50, some a 40 or a 45 will work, but since this is a 4-ton, it needed a 60. So Danny had to wire in a new circuit, and then in order to do that, we had to get the wire outside somehow. So we did this plastic PVC style plumbing. I'm not super up to date on all the construction terms, but basically it's like PVC pipe, and routed that down to this raceway here that goes outside to the unit, and then fished some wire through and ran some NC cable to the unit there. So pretty straightforward what we had to do to get the wire out there. So we had to run 4 strands of wire for this particular unit to have enough legs basically to run the machine. And we actually found out after we got it installed that we actually need to add 1 more. So he's going to come over here on Monday and give me 1 more wire. But the wiring was really straightforward. If you know any bit of wiring about houses, then you can pretty much run the wires to get the legs out to the machine. So once we had the wires all ran out to the machine, then it was time for the HVAC guy to come over and finish all of the ductwork. Used Jimmy Trimble with Trimble Heat and Air. They're out of over by Amelia, Ohio. So if you guys are local to the tri-state area looking for a heat and air company, I would suggest hit those guys up. But the ductwork was pretty straightforward. I've stayed and watched the whole process, and it's pretty much just metal fabrication. These ductworks come in like an L shape, so you're just basically snapping ductwork together, cutting it to whatever length you want, and then putting holes in it for the vents. So I had them run this thing up high like this, so that way in the future, I'm actually going to climate control the upstairs part of the garage too once I get it insulated. So I'll be able to just 90 right off of that, cut a hole in the wall over here, and then boom, now we'll have heat and air upstairs as well. And then I'll probably do some sort of shut-off valve here, like an air guillotine style deal. So that way, if there's no reason to heat and cool up there, if we're not working up there or anything, then we can just keep it for down here so we don't have to run the unit as much. So inside here, pretty straightforward. 3 vents, 1 on each side to make sure that the whole area in here is getting nice and warm or nice and cool in the summer. And then on the outside here, also pretty straightforward. It is a muddy mess right now. I had to continue the ductwork over to the unit here, and then it just fastens to the unit. It's pretty straightforward, really simple to do. Honestly, now that I know how to do it, I could probably do the ductwork pretty easily myself. And then all this ductwork is actually insulated on the inside, which is a pretty big deal, especially where it passes through from the unit to the garage here. Because if it's not insulated here, you're going to lose a lot of heat or a lot of cooling when it's really hot or really cold outside. And then I've got this all taped up for a reason. I'll explain that here in a minute. But then once we had the wires to the outside of the unit here, we just left the wires loose, and then Jimmy actually came and finished wiring it up. So, you know, your wiring guy may or may not know how to wire up this. If you're really good with wiring, you might be able to look at it and figure it out yourself. But we left that up for Jimmy to do because that's what he does every day. And so then he had to run basically just another MC cable in to control the thermostat. But pretty much that's really all it was to getting it plumbed and getting it wired up. And back inside here, just a simple thermostat on the wall. If you guys have Wi-Fi at your garage, you can actually use like a Nest to where you can control the temperature and everything remote from your phone. So if that's something that you know that you're going to come down here and start working in your garage a couple hours ahead of time, you can go ahead and turn the heat on. For me, I don't have Wi-Fi down here. It's not really that big of a deal, so wasn't super worried about it. So we just have a basic thermostat here. And then on the inside here, to finish this out, I'll explain the tape. So I taped up the outside because you can see the air gaps around where the ductwork comes through. So I'm actually going to take some spray foam and spray foam all around all this. And that way, when I silicone the backside, I won't have to use so much silicone. The spray foam will be there, and it also works as an insulator too. So I'm going to do that right now, and then I will explain how we finish out this hole here. So if you remember from the first video, I saved the piece of wood that was on the wall here. And the reason I did that is so I didn't have to make a new piece when I put the wood back in, because obviously we don't want to leave it like that. And so what I'll need to do is once I put this piece of wood in, I'll also need to put this filter vent in here. So what I'm going to do is take the old piece of wood, measure out where I want the filter vent to go in here, cut that out first, notch it to go around the ductwork here, and then I'll put the piece of wood on. I'll put the filter holder back in the wall here, and then it just uses this 2-inch filter that you can get at any Menards or Home Depot, just a 20 by 20 by 2. That's what my particular unit uses. What you have may vary slightly. So while I'm letting the spray foam set up, I'm going to go ahead and get this board on the wall here and get the filter put in. So coming back outside here to the outside ductwork on the unit, you can see why I taped up where the spray foam was going to go. Because had I not done that, we would have had a bunch of spray foam poking out through the outside here, anywhere that I could get to it. So to make my job easier for siliconing, I taped it up so that way there wouldn't be as much foam pop through. Now, you're supposed to use 100% silicone on this stuff. But 100% silicone isn't paintable typically, so I'm just going to use some gray silicone so that way it matches the garage. And I would do that right now, but I actually forgot some brushes when I was picking this stuff up, so I will have to get to the silicone of it later. But real easy to do, just silicone all around anything that protrudes through here so you don't have any water damage issues. Pretty much a wrap on the heat and air unit install here at the garage. Now, the big question that a lot of you guys probably want to know is, what does this cost? Now, this is going to greatly depend on the size of your building. What size unit that you need is going to be dictated by the size of your building, and what skill sets you have as to how much of this you can actually tackle on your own. I didn't even have all the skill sets that I needed to be able to do this completely start to finish. I brought in some outside help, so that raises the cost of this. But basically, for me, with the 4-ton heat and air unit, everything that I did, the materials that I bought, and bringing in some outside help that is some friends of mine and some family, I'm in this about $5,000. And that's a lot of money, but it's significantly cheaper than if you were going to just call up a company and have them come out here and do the entire thing yourself. You'd be looking at $10,000 plus. Now, if you have the capabilities of being able to do this entire project from start to finish, the wiring and everything, then you could probably save yourself around $1,000 over what it cost me to do it. But good rule of thumb, about $5,000 if you have decent skill set like I do, where you're confident in tackling the majority of the job. If you don't really feel confident in tackling any of it, it's going to cost more to that 10,000 plus number. So a lot of money invested, but man, it should really make it nice to work in here in the summer. And for sure in the summer, I'm really looking forward to that. But the winter time, I've already had this thing going for a day. It's been mid-30s here for a high the past 2 days, and it's keeping it 60 degrees in here, no problem. I actually had it at 70 degrees the first day, so this thing is going to make me so much more productive, and I can't wait to do a update on it when I've had it for a while. I'll let you guys know what I think in about 6 months from now. So that's all I got from this one, guys. Thanks for watching. Hopefully, if you're interested in a heat and air install in your garage, you found these last 2 videos helpful. And if you're new here, click the like button, click the subscribe button. Helps me get the content out there to more people. Thanks, guys. See you next time.